I really appreciate you stepping forward, you know, what transpired. That was well, sort of decision at the beginning, and, you know, I'm really impressed. Thank you.
Well, I've lived here my whole life. I know what's important, and I just appreciate that you would put me on the agenda and allow me to come and contact everybody. Everybody was very nice on the phone, and in the beginning, I think I made my point clear that I would just move forward, but at this point, I thought it was important to let you know personally that, of course, I would still care for the position if you see it fit.
Great.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Having appointed you, I'm delighted to see you.
All right, enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye.
Take care.
Got to go on tomorrow night.
You want Jim, huh?
Yeah.
Jim? Front and center.
Keep it moving.
Your turn.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that would work.
Well, I can see him, so I can make eye contact with him. And like every engineer and every lawyer, sitting there on his laptop.
You know, of course. I hate this.
I know. Well, I did when he said, after 30 years, he said, no, ooh.
I don't know.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Okay. We figured it was good to have a status update since we are moving. We'd like you guys to be up to date on what we're doing.
See, as we come in, we have 3 things going on still, and they are the water taking permit for the second well. That actually it encompasses also the first well, but it's essentially doubling the take on the well field. That's one project. The other is the directional bore under the Wallkill River, because we can't wait for the county anymore to build that bridge. We're going to drill under the river with the pipe. And the third is the redesign of the pump house to make it a hair larger and meeting some new health department standards that have been out since the pump house was first designed. So the pump house is Biffin's project. All we do is the drafting. I think he has a review letter from State Health with a small amount of work to be done. He is working that up, and he's going to give it to us so we can give you an estimate on what's involved with that.
Yeah, we had a very good meeting on Wednesday. Jim, myself, Mike Nusley, Biffin, and Artelli, so that we could go through all of these things and make our plan and assign the different roles and make sure that we got prices ahead of time. Henceforth, we're here today to let you know what's going on, so you keep up to date.
So that's the first thing, that Biffin is working that up, and then he'll get it to us for our part. Second thing is the directional bore under the river. We've got in touch with the county, and basically that whole concept of how that job was developed was, in consultation with them. They wanted our original plans changed to reflect the fact that they now have the one-way traffic, because the maintenance and protection of traffic, how you put up the traffic signs and so forth, will change based on that. So they asked us to change that. That's Ross Winglevich's project. He went out, looked at it, made some revisions to the map. We looked at it. It was about 5 hours work for our guys to turn that around. And then the cost of the application to County DPW was already included in Ross's base fee, so there's no more work to do there.
Which I thought was very, very good. I mean, which means he's doing the work without charging us anything additional.
He's all right the first time around, I'm sure. And then the third thing is the well, which is what I'm working on. And we have a notice of complete application and a draft permit in hand. Now, I looked at the permit, and Biffin and Art reviewed the permit, and they had some concerns that I didn't have based on talking to the hydrogeologist at the DEC, but I do understand that people could read the permit and take it to mean that the state would try to limit what we're going to take out of our reservoirs under certain conditions. I talked to the hydrogeologist at the state, who's new. The person that approved this last time for well number 1 is subsequently retired, so you have 2 new people, the permit officer and the hydrogeologist, learning this all from scratch. So I talked to him for about 45 minutes to explain how our reservoirs work. He's never even been here in Albany. How the reservoirs work, how they tie together, the leak pump that we built in 2000, all those things. So basically he said, we just don't want you to pump it down as low as you did in the past, to protect fish populations and so forth. And I guarantee them that, the village doesn't want to go to the last month of water either. That's the idea behind having the wells. So I expressed our concern about limiting the taking from our reservoirs, and he said, listen, you understand the system a lot better than I do. You write the condition and send it to me, and we'll
So that's where we are right now.
So that's where we are. I'm waiting.
Which is good.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for numbers from Mike. We have 5 years of reservoir production records, and for all of that time, Green Hill wasn't metered. For many years, it didn't have a meter, so you didn't know how much Green Hill was actually producing. So we have more new data on that that wasn't included in the original reservoir study that was done in 1999, 2000. So we're going to incorporate that. The only thing I'm waiting on now are the numbers from Mike on the reservoir levels. We have the production, but what I'm going to do is tie what you take out of the reservoir to the level of the reservoir, okay? And I explained this to Jim Gary, the hydrogeologist from DEC, that you take the situation that you're in now, where the water's going over the dam, that water comes into the village by gravity, you don't have to pump it 3 miles, it's cheaper to produce the finished product. So, come May, when people are filling their pools and watering their flowers, and your weekend usage is going to go up, $1.1 million, $1.2 million sometimes, from the 900,000 it might be today. So why should you be restricted to, say, 800,000 a day from the reservoirs when you have a surplus? It's silly. So we're going to structure it so, based on the level of the reservoir, that's how much you can withdraw, and that's when it'll start to ramp up taking from Crystal Run.
Which only makes sense, because why in heaven's name would we go through all of this work, not to have these wells be relied on as the secondary usage to the reservoir? They chime in when the reservoir starts to go down, which is what he's working on right now.
And so after I get the numbers from Mike, I'll look at them, I'll get you a number. Shouldn't even be a day's work, or maybe a little more. What I'm also going to do is make a spreadsheet of the production and the reservoir levels and start it up in Excel or something, probably in Excel. I'll look to see if there are any, reservoir programs there may be. But give it back to you so that you have a starting point. Your stuff is all still on pad and paper, and you can
We can put it on.
extract a lot more data and be a lot more convincing to the health department, if they're coming down on you for whatever, not having adequate reserves in the you'll have some real data you can suck out right away. That's about it.
I just have a quick question. How many gallons per day can the CRV wells yield?
828,000 gallons a day.
How much do we use approximately right now?
900.
Exactly.
And you could
really
actually-
almost double.
You could actually take a lot more there. That's what they're approved for, is 828,000, but we pumped well number 1 in the 02-03 drought, which is the worst drought since '65. And pumped it for 5.5 months straight. And our drawdown was never more than 12 feet, and we always had at least 30 feet of water over the pumps. Town of Walkill, we were keeping in close contact with the town of Walkill, because their wells are just across Goshen Turnpike. During that same time, their drawdown was 35 feet, and they only had 3 to 4 feet of water over their pumps. So their drawdown was dramatic compared to ours. And while we were only drawing down what we did, the influence at the property boundary, we have 12 monitoring wells, because we were testing at the time, we kept track of that. We only drew the water down 1 inch at the property line. So,
Fantastic.
you could easily drill another well or 2 and take more if you ever need to. But right now, I'm confident. I talked to Vipin and Art about this, and I think the next step is to do a feasibility study as to whether you should just pump that water all the way to the reservoir, rather than trying to treat it on this end.
We had serious conversation about
Going
this.
back and forth.
Yeah, we had serious conversation about this because anything that you construct over here is going to be a major investment. And you're going to have to update the present site. So, we're going to do the feasibility
Yeah,
study
see which
to
one is-
guide the board in the
Yeah.
decision, because this will be a long
Goshen, New York, Goshen, New York.